right. My name is Fed.
Viewers and listeners at home, welcome to your darling program. Welcome to Abntv newspaper review. Here with me, I have the Punch newspaper and I have the Nation newspaper, and my colleagues here too.
I have Tribune and I have Nation newspaper.
And firstly, we are going to the Punch newspaper here with me. Federal government stop acting VC rectors and provosts for contesting substantive position. Following recent crisis which threw appointments of institutional heads in certain public universities and other tertiary institutions nationwide, the Ministers of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, on Thursday, approved the implementation of the guiding policy on eligibility for the appointments of vice chancellor, rectors, and provosts. The policy, which was announced by the Directors of Press, Federal Ministry of Education, Folashade Boriowo, on Thursday morning, was said to have become necessary following a pattern of undue advantages observed over the years, where officers serving in acting capacity often leverage their position to influence appointment outcomes, thereby transparency of the selection process. The statement noted that the new policy aims to eliminate this practice, ensure a level playing field for all qualified candidates, and strengthen institutional governance. The policy stipulates that any officer serving in an acting capacity as vice chancellor, rectors, or provost shall not be eligible to apply for substantive position while still holding the acting appointment. The full detail of this story is inside the Punch newspaper for today.
Here with me, I have the Tribune newspaper. Kogi governors reaffirms commitment to media partnership. Kogi State Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo has commended media professionals for their dedications to promoting transparency and keeping citizens informed about government activities. Governor Ododo, who was represented by Secretary to the Governor Ododo, Kogi State Government SGS Folashade Ayuade made this known during the official launch of the state's first annual media performance report in Lokoja. Ododo acknowledged the collective efforts that went into creating the media performance report, emphasizing the important role played by the Special Advisor on Media, Honorable Ismailia Issa, and his team in delivering the report, which he noted aligns with the administration values of teamwork and effective communication. He expressed the appreciation to journalists across the state and beyond, recognizing their sacrifices in the life of duty. He further pledged to facilitate direct engagement between members of the press and the Kogi State government, assuring that the administration values the role of the media in building trust and shaping public discourse.
Another story here with me in the Punch newspaper. OSI promises support for army recruitment drive among Abia youths. The Abia State Governor Alex Oti has promised to assist in sensitizing Abia youths for recruitment into the Nigerian Army. Oti stated this in the government's house activations on Wednesday while receiving an audience in delegation of this year 2025. Nigerian Army recruitment awareness teams from Army Headquarters, Abuja, led by the Brigadier General Chama Akyoto. The governor, who was represented by his chief of staff, Pastor Caleb Ajagba, said that the government will set up the necessary structures to make sure that those that fall within the age brackets that is being recruitment are sensitized. He said, we help to make sure that Abians, especially the youth, will embrace this opportunity. Also commended the Nigerian Army for its interest in authority that the Southeast is fully integrated into the Nigerian Army, and saying that it is good that the institution has continued to interface with those at the local level, the majors and the traditional institutions. Also promises support for army recruitment drive among Abia youth. The full details of these stories inside the youth newspaper for today.
Here with me, I have the Second Tribune newspaper. Civil Service Pensioners Leadership slams call for an NUP executive's dissolution. The leadership of the Federal Civil Service Pensioners has condemned recent calls for the dissolution of the National Executive of the Nigerian Union Pensioners by a group identified as Consigned FCSP. This was disclosed in a statement by the chairman of FCSP, Comrade Frederick Egroaba, describing the move as an unfortunate, noting that certain individuals resort to discrediting others simply because they are no longer in positions of power. Egroaba urged members of the Consigned FCSP to return to the union fold and contribute meaningfully to its development, rather than waste energy and resources on what he described as a campaign fueled by cronyism. He emphasized that many of the aggrieved individuals had recently lost in the FCSP elections, are now wrongfully blaming the NUP for their defeat. The chairman stated that both the FCSP leadership elections and the broader NUP process were transparently conducted with the presence of the Ministry of Labour, Nigerian Labour Congress, the Pension Transitional Higher Directorate, and other relevant agencies. The full story is in the newspaper.
Another story here with me in the Punch newspaper for today. 7 journalists detained in Ethiopia over broadcast of rape allegations. At least 7 journalists, as been International Journalist Monitor said, after they aired a story accusing men in military uniform of raping a woman in 2020. The East Africa giant of some 130 million people is regularly criticized by human rights of NGO for the repressions of dissenting voices. The country ranks 146 out of 180 countries in the Reporters Without Borders 2024 Press Freedom Index, which cites widespread self-consulting. The committee protest journalists said late on Wednesday that 7 people were detained in late March after this Ethiopia Broadcasting Service broadcast a woman claims to have been abducted and raped by men in military uniform while she was a student in 2020. The woman later retracted her statements on a state-owned channel. Ethiopia Broadcasting Services founder apologized and saying the station discovered that the allegations were fabricated after the program aired. According to the committee to project journalists, according to the court documents reviewed by the committee to project journalists, police allege that the journalists sought to incite conflict and threaten the constitutional orders and overthrow the government. Coordination with extremist group in the Anambra State.
Here with me, I have the Third Tribune newspaper. Trump announces 90 days pause on tariff with exceptions of China. President Donald Trump announced a complete 3-month pause on all the reciprocal tariffs that went into the effect of midnight with the exception of China, a stunning reversal from a president who had insisted historically high tariffs were yet to stay. Sky News reports. But enormous tariffs will remain on China, the world's second largest economy. In fact, Trump said there will be increase on 125% from 104% after China announced an additional retaliatory tariffs against the United Nations earlier Wednesday. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world market, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately, Trump said in a social media post. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping of the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable, he wrote. Trump, in a Truth Social post, Wednesday said he has authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately.
Now to another nation newspaper. Political killings, IG orders deployments of tactical squad assets. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun yesterday deployed a police tactical squad and assets in the Plateau State communities and attached by government late last month. Egbetokun also directed his deputy in charge of the Department of Operations, Kwashi Yakubu, to lead and coordinate the tactical team with significance. The reinforcements include additional units of IR, trained personnel and state-of-art drones for iron civilians and unmanned personnel carriers, units of police mobile forces, helicopters, and specialized platoons from the Special Intervention Squad. Egbetokun, according to a statement by Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said that the special operations have been undertaken to effectiveness and curb the incident gunmen attacks in Boko's local government areas of the state surrounding communities. Places killings. Inspector General orders the deployment of tactical squad as said. The full details of these stories inside the Nation newspaper for today.
Here with me, I have Nation newspaper. 1 dies, 9 houses raid in Oyo land dispute. Madam Rachel Bamidele died over a land dispute in her Agba community in Surulere local government area of Oyo State. The dispute also resulted in 9 houses razed and property worth millions of looted or destroyed. A statement by the spokesman of the Oyo Police Command, Adewale Osifeso, said the burning, looting, and destruction of properties appeared to have been calculated and systematically carried out, targeting individuals involved in an ongoing civil litigation over the disputed land. It said the incident, which forced occupants to desert the village, was allegedly perpetrated by residents of a neighboring community over a long-standing dispute over land. Osifeso stated that the Oyo Police Command responded to April 5, 2025 attack on Ayagba community, adding that following the development, the Commissioner of Police, Johnson Adeola, swiftly deployed the command's specialized intelligence and statistical assets, including a unit of PM officers to the village to ensure public safety.
Another story here with me, Buhari urges APC governors to offer citizen-centric leadership. Former President Muhammad Buhari has called on a progressive governor to adopt a citizen-centric approach to governance. Buhari said, personal enrichment should never come before the welfare of citizens and national interest. He told the governor, who visited him in Darius, Katsina State on Tuesday, that he left office with the same assets he had before and he became president. His admission is contained in a statement made available to reporters by his maiden aide, Gaba Shehu, yesterday. The former president reaffirmed his confidence in current trajectory of APC-led states and urged leaders to stay focused on the welfare of the people leadership. A challenge, but it also offers opportunity. Balancing both is key to our nation's progress. Leaders must put the people first. Personal enrichment should never come before national services and left office with the same assets I had before I had become president. That is how leadership should be said. Buhari urges APC governors to offer citizen-centric leadership. The full details of these stories inside the Nation newspaper for today.
Here with me, I have the Nation newspaper of today. Operation of the Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft have arrested 27 suspected drug peddlers, including 3 women. The suspects were arrested during a raid at drug haven of Gideon Drama, Malu Road, Apapa on April 5. According to the Navy, the raid followed credible intelligence on the presence of the suspected drug dealers in the location. In a statement, the base information officer, Binfo Yusani Ibrahim, identified the suspects as Ajike Rahimi, Badipe Olamiposi, and the rest. Others included Muhammad Umar, 22, Bashir Abubakar, Nafiu Azan, Akobi, Dele Yusuf, and the rest. The successful arrest of 27 suspects and the illicit substance underscores the unwavering commitment of NNS Beefcroft to curtailing spread and use of illicit drugs among teeming youth, which negatively affects their health and strengthen national security. Ibrahim said the commander, NNS Beefcroft, Commodore Paul Panfra Limiel, through the base executive officer, Captain Idronisit, handed over the suspects and exhibit to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
And lastly, with me in the Nation newspaper, Edo seeks intra-Africa trade to survive tariff regimes. Nigeria has urged African countries to be resilient over the retaliatory tariff regimes some countries have imposed and following the new trade policies introduced by the United States. President Donald Trump, Ministers of Finance and Coordinating Ministers of Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who spoke for the country, described the tariff as cause for the deepening of intra-African trade. Speaking at the Fourth World Customs Organization General Conference for West and Central Africa regions in Abuja, the minister said the consequences of this new tariff regime were still being studied all over the world. The conference theme is the mobilization of partners around priority projects in the World Customs Organization, West and Central Africa region. Edun said, now we have the reciprocal tariff regime consequences, which are unfolding and being studied by one and all over the world. But this is a lesson for all that we need to trade among ourselves. We need to be resilient. He reminded the region of the need to be mindful of emerging challenges and strengthen its collective progress for greater integration and prosperity. Edo seeks intra-Africa trade to survive tariff regimes. The full details of this story is inside the Nation newspaper for today. And this is the end of this newspaper review. If you'd like to follow us live and direct on our website page, you can click on the follow us on www.abntv network, and likewise on our social media, you can click and follow us on our Facebook and click and follow us. Make sure you subscribe and like and comment, and follow us on Abntv OSUN. Likewise on our YouTube, you can like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe and click on Abntv Nigeria as well. And we also have our Twitter. You can follow us and like, share, comment, and subscribe and click on Abntv OSUN. And lastly, on our Instagram, make sure you like, share, comments, and make sure you subscribe and click on Abntv Nigeria as well. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. My name is Kenny Afolabi.
Ifeoluwa Adesonya.
So bye for now.